He's energized, as are 63 million plus voters who elected him to office.
Cringe-worthy Ivanka Trump moments that are hard to forget. As controversial as he was, Trump had certainly amassed loyal supporters. I think by now there isn't a place on earth that hasn't heard about former President Donald Trump. Now imagine if you were that person's daughter, and you're just trying not to mess up every time you're in the same room, which in turn makes you more nervous and trips you up even more. Today, we'll look into the most cringe-worthy moments of the former first daughter. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Disclaimer: we know there may be hardcore supporters of the Trump family watching this, so to avoid any misunderstandings, we'd like to go ahead and say that nothing in this video is meant to defame the person of interest or anyone they're affiliated with, as everything here is meant to be taken as satire meant for comedy. With that out of the way, let's begin. Like father, like daughter? In a largely concealed clip of Donald and his stepdaughter Ivanka's appearance on The Wendy Williams Show, the host tried to take a close glimpse into the father-daughter team that ran the country at the time. Little did our host know, when you peer into the abyss, it looks back. In a segment called Fave 5, Wendy asked the duo what they thought they had most in common. While her daughter answered a very mechanic golf and real estate, Daddy had to chime in and say, "Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that to her." After which Wendy awkwardly moved on to the next question at light speed. Take that, every daughter who thinks their dad embarrasses them in public. Donald Daddy Trump. There's just something intrinsically embarrassing about people finding out what you call your parents. From the simple ma and pa to the more affectionate and cutesy mommy and daddy, we try our best to keep that side of ourselves hidden for whatever reason. The first daughter didn't have this luxury though, since in a North Dakota rally where Ivanka was with her father, Donald gave the crowd a bit of a clue as to why she was there, saying, "She actually said, 'Daddy, can I go with you?' much to the crowd's discomfort. Ivanka took this in stride though, immediately switching the topic to the state's energy workers that gathered at the rally. This comment also received some backlash, but that's a different topic altogether. Scene zone. Few things on earth match the pain of getting ignored by someone after you post an emotional video addressing their success. Oddly specific? Well, that's exactly what happened to Ivanka Trump on the eve of her stepsister Karlie Kloss's debut as host of Project Runway's 17th season. She posted a video congratulating her sister on the opportunity, especially since Karlie had been working as a model at the time, to which the would-be host replied with, "Nothing." This wasn't the first time this happened though, as we see in an Instagram post of Kloss announcing her engagement. The first daughter expressed how happy she was to have more family, but was again ignored by her stepsister. To date, Karlie doesn't follow the first family on any form of social media. Wardrobe malfunction. Don't you just hate it when you take an hour picking out the perfect dress, styling your hair and doing your makeup, and it goes up in very expensive powdered smoke the second a medium-sized wind blows past you outside? Well, imagine that happening to you and having about 100 different cameras pointed your way, so you could never live it down. That's what happened when Ivanka Trump decided to go to Colombia and promote their Women's Global Development and Prosperity Initiative. To add insult to injury, she just happened to be next to the Vice President of Colombia when the cameras came alive and took shot after shot of her dress and hair violently waving in the wind and right into the Vice President's unwitting face. The Donald Trump Special, Part 1. By now, we're all aware of Trump's decidedly inappropriate comments that border on harassment, but most well known of all is his penchant for making inappropriate comments directed at his own stepdaughter. When he was taking some time off to promote the first season of The Apprentice to a circuit of talk shows, first of which was The View, the host Star Jones went right in and asked what Donald would do if her daughter was asked to pose for the Playboy magazine. After telling the host that his daughter knew better than that, he just had to destroy the moment by following up with, "Although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her." We imagine we don't have to tell you what kind of face her daughter made when her own father said that. The Donald Trump Special, Part 2. Do you have trouble deciding what to do when you meet someone? Is a handshake too formal? Is a kiss on the cheek too personal? Well, Trump doesn't seem to have that problem as he opts to go in somewhere a bit more south. When Donald Trump introduced his daughter at the 2016 Republican National Convention, he greeted her by holding her waist a bit lower than what you do with any family member. This greeting went on to be one of the most controversial things ever seen on TV, probably ever, with body language expert Patty Wood even commenting that the hold wasn't something you gave to even a child the age of 5, calling out the sexual innuendo this action implied. Too close. It's tough being daughter to such a high-profile person, especially at photo shoots. Donald often brought celebrities and other presidents behind the shutter along with his daughter, and we can only imagine what could be going through the poor girl's head when that happens. This dilemma became reality for Ivanka in the 2019 G20 summit in Japan, where the father and daughter lined up to take a picture with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and South Korean President Moon Jae-in and his wife. Ivanka shuffled her way beside Korea's First Lady, which was supposed to be reserved for Donald's wife, Melania. Needless to say, everyone in the picture was uncomfortable save for the cause of said discomfort. The adult table. Do you remember looking longingly at the fun adult table from the drab and noisy kids table at parties? Well, that's kind of what happened with Ivanka following her little photo shoot at the G20 summit in Japan at dinner. With prime ministers, presidents, directors of major companies and trust funds from every which country on the guest list, we guess that daughter of the President of the United States suddenly doesn't cut it anymore. And to say that she was out of place was an understatement. The whole video spectacle was so uncomfortable that the French presidential palace actually took a video of Ivanka trying to socialize with the guests. And it's still available for your viewing on the internet. A little too different. It doesn't take a genius to know that questions in the political world are vastly different than those on celebrity interviews or panel discussions. Which begs the question of why Ivanka Trump would accept being brought onto an interview by the Cosmopolitan, when she was mostly aware of her position as the first daughter. We'll probably never have the answer, much like the Cosmopolitan interviewer, Prachi Gupta, when he bombarded Ivanka with questions on his father's plan for paid maternity leaves, and how that would impact same-sex couples as they weren't explicitly mentioned. He then hit her with a question on her father's comment on pregnancy being an inconvenient thing for business, and where she stood regarding that. Ivanka fumbled through most of the questions before asking to leave, after which she tweeted at Cosmo that they should focus on what's important. Bean model. Being the paragon of fashion and style that Ivanka is, you could say that her sense for promotion and modeling are better than most people's. Then the only logical course of action would be to become a model for Hispanic bean products, right? We won't assume to know the inner machinations of someone as enlightened in fashion as she is, since we're only here to tell people of her misadventures. In 2020, Ivanka sent out a picture of her holding a can of Goya black beans with the caption, "If it's Goya, it has to be good. Si es Goya, tiene que ser bueno." Yes, the second half of that was in Spanish. Of course, dissenters on the Trump administration and comedians alike were quick to pile onto this post, saying that maybe she was actually promoting the product or auditioning to be on The Price is Right, and even saying, that's the closest she's ever gotten to working. You just know that she's sore today. Again, we're not here to assume or criticize. And that's it. Did we miss any? If so, feel free to comment them down below. As always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell button for more amazing content like this. See you next time.